Hi, I am Kayla Reardon, and I will be presenting Mexican artists Diego Rivera and Jose Clemente Orozco and their positive influence in social change within Mexico. To first explore the subject, I cover the basics of artistic representation. Artistic representation is an important tool dating back to the Stone Age. It pushes social issues and standings of different perspectives and is understandable by many different cultures and people. Vibrant and turbulent histories have equally vibrant art. That's why there are many dynamic artists within Mexico, which has a very vibrant history. The subject of my presentation will explore the famous artists Diego Rivera Orozco and how they positively influenced social and developmental change within Mexico. To explore this subject, there first has to be an understanding of Mexican art history. Mexico has had prevalence in art since the existence of the Olmec and Mayan civilizations. Colonization in the 16th century caused many of the previous native art forms to be banned in hopes of controlling the populations of Mexico. Despite this, an assimilation of art styles still occurred, and the people of Mexico grew internal divide due to the oppression. This oppression would often rise up in social movements and art revivals of the native art forms. Many famous artists were leaders of these movements. This included Diego Rivera and Jose Clemente Orozco. First, I will cover Rivera. He was born in 1886 from Guanajuato, Mexico. He is described as one of the leading artists of the 20th century, and he often was influenced by the Mexican Revolution of 1914 to 1915. He is famous for his depictions of the working class and native peoples. He had many reasons for being an influential artist. First off, he was born from Mexico, and from being from a wealthy family, he gained a lot of influence from their family, pretty much, I guess. Okay. He was also married to Frida Kahlo, who was a well-respected artist. She was loved by many for pushing nationalistic and historic Mexican pride. She often portrayed nationalistic images with her South American-inspired art styles. This can be seen in the example self-portrait along the borderline between Mexico and the United States. According to FridaKahlo.org, it depicts clearly many historical aspects of Mexico, including agricultural prevalence, which is kind of hard to see, but it's there, a native South American structure in the background, along with pre-Columbian fertility dolls around here. Along with Frida, Rivera also pushed for nationalism. He used many native Mexican art styles and common depictions of the working class. In this previously divided community, the revival of old art forms allowed the people of Mexico to grow nationalistic pride. The oppression of the past grew into a love of the past. This can be seen here too in the Palacio Nacional, which shows a lot of Mexican history, such as like the colonists are arriving and a lot of the Native Americans were forced into slavery. David Craven states that he was one of the leaders of the Muralist Movement. This movement was many mural artists presented their political and social views by means of murals in public places. John Dos Passos stated that when reviewing Rivera's work, you could clearly see signs of revolution in Mexico. Despite his work uniting Mexicans, he also had many criticisms. He was well known for his Marxist beliefs and using his power to push his support for communism. There was an incident where he was commissioning the mural, Man, Controller of the Universe, for Nelson D. Rockefeller. He painted Vladimir Lenin in the mural, which angered many, including his commissioner, and he had to demolish his work. The second artist I will address is Jose Clemente Orozco. He was born in Ciudad Guzman, Mexico, and often used traditional Mexican art styles. With his art, he overcame his poverty of the past and died of heart failure at the age of 65. He was influential due to his Mexican origins and also his underdog backstory. After he rose from poverty, he was well respected by many for his difficult life as a laborer in the past. His backstory was strongly relatable to many Mexicans of the time. He played a positive part in uniting Mexicans under nationalistic pride. He placed many labor references in his work, along with traditional native art aspects. This can be seen in his work, The Epic of American Civilization, from 1934, which presents an agricultural innocent in the middle of more, I guess it would be modernized workers, and the modernized workers were placed in a more negative view than the agricultural innocent. Orozco also played a part in the Muralist movement, where his art often depicted demands for reform. He often depicted Mexican history in his murals, such as The People and Its Leaders, that shows Hidalgo signing the decree to abolish slavery. However, like Rivera, Orozco had many criticisms. He played a part in pushing communism within Mexico and in involving himself in the Muralist movement, played a part in many communist controversies. Manjera states that the muralists of the movement shared themes often of socialism. As a prominent leader of this movement, Orozco's art often pushed for those influenced by his style to support his political views. In conclusion, I understand the impact of Rivera and Orozco's work was not always positive. However, they are an important part of Mexican history that shaped how they are today. They were able to push some positive change in Mexico, uniting the people together nationalistically. However, they had many valid criticisms of their work.
So how did the stimulus materials inspire your original research?
When I saw the Frida Kahlo art, it was very much a big influence on it because I know she was a very prominent person, and through that I learned about more prominent people, and it just was a very interesting subject because I love art and it inspired something within me.
And what advice would you have for other researchers who consider the topic?
There's a lot. It's very hard to find peer-reviewed articles on it, so you have to look for more broad subjects instead of typing in exactly what you're looking for. So when looking for peer-reviewed articles, you have to be more broad, and even when you're more broad, you have to kind of nitpick through like the work. But in the end, you will find your information. So